I'd like to start with actually making you think about a situation you might have all faced in implementation. When you're talking to your political partner, implementation partner, maybe a private sector actor, maybe an NGO, and you're talking to them about a great activity you're planning to implement, you spend already a lot of thought on it. You wanted to pitch it. You want to get them on board. You want to go deeper into what they want. And then suddenly in the course of the conversation, they tell you, that sounds amazing, but we also talked to the French last week about it. Expertise France showed up. Or, oh, we talked to another NGO. They actually have a similar approach. Or in some instances even, but there were also other GIZ colleagues from another project. We talked to them like 2 hours ago. And the big question is like, do you guys actually talk to each other? And that's one of the biggest problems that we are also facing when looking at official development assistance. It's inefficiency. It's basically a lack of collaboration and cooperation between different international actors. So when we take a look at the numbers, like 10 to 15% of all official development assistance gets lost annually. And we are talking about huge numbers here. So in 2023, 223 billion euros is the total amount. So 10 to 15%, we talk about 20 to 25 billion US dollars that get lost every year. That's especially severe if we are in our current times of budget cuts. So I would like to talk more with you about this aspect of collaboration and cooperation by focusing on the biggest provider of official development assistance, the European Union, the European Commission, and the European member states. The big turning point in actually, after decades of trying to make it more collaborative, finding synergies, was in 2020 when the COVID pandemic hit. And those of you who work in implementation might wonder, but activity slowed down. We needed to find ways to implement still. And that's also the point when you actually needed to talk to other international actors and try to use their established systems to work with the other stakeholders and find synergies. And that's also the starting point of the Team Europe approach of working better together. That's actually focusing even more of taking different perspectives in, bringing the best by everyone to the table in order to improve programming and implementation. So what I'm doing, I'm working at the sectorial department. So I'm actually supporting projects being set up. And the majority of the time I spend on actually supporting EU co-finance projects. And when we are looking at the current projects, they are quite big, working in the area of digital transformation. We're talking about big European flagships. And in 2023, President von der Leyen announced the Africa-Europe Digital Innovation Bridge to actually connect digital innovation ecosystems on the African, like sub-Saharan Africa, and also with the European ecosystems. And well, now we're in 2025, and we are about to sign the contract potentially, hopefully, next week. And some of you might wonder, where did 2024 go? Well, I'm not going to lie to you and open the black box of what's actually happening when we're talking about programming and trying to find these collaboration and cooperation. We actually took the entire year to prepare this because we were 6 European member states coming together, discussing all the questions we also discussed with the Inside Out framework, like who will do what, where, when, and how. And it takes a lot of time to figure these things out because everyone will bring their ideas to the table. Everything was going quite well when we started in March 2024. We were collecting, we were gathering huge pinboards. Everything seemed to go well. We got to know each other. But then in September, we realized, well, we are 12 million euros above budget. So we can't do all the great things we're imagining. And that's where the whole negotiation started, to go down in budget. People would need to make cuts, even though they had pressure from the hierarchy to get a certain budget in or to implement certain activities that were foreseen by the project. And it started, like, this tone was still nice, but you could tell that the different implementation agencies were actually starting to stress, how can we still do it? Where do we cut activities? Which countries do we need to take out? But even in that spirit, we managed to actually cut down the budget to only remaining 1 or 2 million euros, but actually trying to find synergy still in that. If one country would need to cut down, for example, a certain activity, maybe another one could keep it up. So we are trying to establish even more synergies, even though the negotiation rounds were getting tougher. Then we had a turning point because we couldn't go down more from 1 or 2 million euros. And the ministries came in and they wanted to solve it by just seeing how much are we giving, how much are we getting back. And that was the point when the whole consortium of European member states came together to try and see how can we even cut more. So we were even in these negotiations focusing on making everyone who was participating to believe that what they were giving up could actually integrate it somewhere else. And also from the GIZ side, we made cuts. So we wanted to focus on certain thematic areas and bring innovation hubs together, but we couldn't. So the Estonians offered to take this part over. And even by giving something up, we felt like we were winning something because it will still be integrated in the project. And yes, it takes time, but I just want to remind you that it's very important to keep up efficiencies, collaboration, save budget, even though you might need to invest a lot of time and effort into it, but just keep the spirit up of everyone trying to think we are in tough negotiations, but we are still winning in the end. Thank you.